let's dive into one of Shakespeare's darkest and most powerful tragedies, Macbeth. There's this one single visceral element that gives the play its terrifying power: blood. We're going to explore how this symbol changes from something heroic, a sign of honor, into a mark of guilt and madness.
I mean, there's just no getting around it. From the opening scenes on a brutal battlefield all the way to its bloody end, the play is absolutely drenched in it. And that makes it one of the most powerful symbols in all of literature. And this line right here, spoken by Macbeth himself, really captures the grim heart of the story. It's like its own dark prophecy, isn't it? The idea that one act of violence just inevitably leads to another, creating this vicious cycle that nobody can escape. But here's the thing we're going to explore. In Macbeth, blood is so much more than just gore for shock value. Not at all. It's this complex, powerful symbol, and its meaning shifts dramatically, tracking the main character's fall from a celebrated warrior into a paranoid tyrant. So where does this whole bloody journey even begin? Well, you might be surprised to hear that it doesn't start with guilt. It starts with glory. The play actually kicks off by showing blood as a badge of honor.
Right. So when we first hear about Macbeth, he's not the villain. He's the hero. A captain is describing him in the middle of battle, saying his sword was literally smoking from the bloody execution of his country's enemies. At this point, shedding blood is a sign of courage, loyalty, and patriotism. It's a good thing.
And this is just a brilliant way to set up the central conflict of the entire play. Shakespeare draws a really clear line between two different kinds of blood. You've got good blood, the kind you spill for your king and country, which brings you glory. And then you have bad blood, the kind spilled through betrayal, which only leads to guilt and damnation. Okay, so the stage is set. Macbeth starts out as the perfect soldier. He's celebrated for the very same violence that will eventually completely consume him. He's the poster boy for honorable bloodshed.
All right, now let's get to the turning point, that pivotal moment where the meaning of blood and really Macbeth's soul is changed forever.
This is the question that just ignites the whole tragedy. After Macbeth murders the king, King Duncan, in his sleep, a man who trusted him completely, his relationship with blood is changed forever. It's no longer a symbol of his bravery, but of his betrayal.
And just look at his immediate reaction. It's not pride, it's not triumph, it's pure, unadulterated horror. Macbeth gets it, instantly. He knows this act is different. The blood on his hands isn't just a physical thing, it's a metaphysical stain. And it's so deep that not even all the water in the world could ever wash it away. But then you have Lady Macbeth. And what a contrast. Her response is just so chillingly practical. To her, at this moment, the blood is just evidence, something you wash off. She can't yet see the huge spiritual and psychological weight of what they've just done. So this is the key takeaway, right? The blood has totally transformed. It's not about a noble cause anymore. Now it represents Macbeth's damnation. He's crossed a line and there's no coming back. Every single drop of blood he spills from here on out just digs him deeper into his own private hell. But see, that stain, it doesn't just stay on their hands. It starts to seep inward, becoming this inescapable psychological torture for both Macbeth and his wife. So Macbeth's guilt isn't just a bad feeling anymore. It starts to, well, literally appear right in front of him. During a royal dinner, he's haunted by the bloody ghost of Banquo, the friend he just had murdered. The blood he's spilled is now, quite literally, coming back to haunt him, and he's the only one who can see it. And this, right here, is why the play is still so powerful after all these years. The real horror isn't just the violence. It's the terrifying psychological collapse of its characters. It's that internal torment that has kept audiences absolutely hooked for, over 400 years now? And what about Lady Macbeth? You know, the one who was so sure a little water would fix everything? Oh, the irony is just devastating. She ends up being completely consumed by the very guilt she dismissed. She starts sleepwalking through the castle, endlessly trying to wash away an imaginary spot of blood that she now understands is a permanent stain on her soul. So at the end of the day, that crime they committed together, it leads them down two separate but equally tragic paths. The blood that once bound them together in their ambition now completely isolates them in their own private madness. It drives him to become a tyrant, and it drives her to suicide. So, You might be asking, why does this bloody story about a Scottish king from centuries ago still hit so hard today? Well, let's take a look at how its powerful themes have been reinterpreted over and over again by filmmakers. And what's so fascinating when you look at this is how each director uses the play's bloody bones to explore totally different human anxieties. Take Orson Welles. He saw it as this big spiritual battle between paganism and Christianity. Akira Kurosawa, in his absolute masterpiece, Throne of Blood, reframed it as a terrifying story about fear itself. Roman Polanski saw it as a tale of youth rebelling in a world without God, and a more recent version by Justin Kurzel interpreted the whole tragedy as the result of PTSD. So what does this all tell us? It shows just how incredibly adaptable Shakespeare's story is. The core story, anchored by that powerful symbol of blood, becomes this kind of vessel that every generation can use to explore its own questions about ambition, guilt, and what drives people to do terrible things. So really, when you trace the story of blood in this play, you're tracing the journey of Macbeth himself. It starts as a badge of honor, a symbol of loyalty that could be washed away after a battle. But with just one act of betrayal, it becomes a permanent, indelible stain, not on his hands, but on his very soul. And that kind of leaves us with one final haunting question, doesn't it? The play shows us that the consequences of our actions, especially the ones driven by ambition that's completely unchecked, can never really be washed away. They become a part of who we are, a stain we carry with us. It's a timeless warning, just as powerful today as it was 400 years ago.